Welcome to the Light Language University podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Donna Campbell, and she's going to share her story of healing with us. As always, there will be some things in our podcast that may raise questions. Please go to our Light Language University website where we have a plethora of resources and content that you can refer to. In addition, we will also share notes from Donna's healing journey and some of the references that she has in our podcast notes. So, without any further ado, let's introduce Donna. Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you, everybody, all over the world?
Yes, how are you today?
Great.
I love the green. I think today we're going to talk about our heart, and Donna's going to help us share how she healed herself. And so I want to jump in first by giving a little bit of background on Donna. Because she's so humble, Donna, doesn't even really know where to start when it talks about her origin story, but she has a beautiful life story filled with many experiences and brushes with shamanism, life, and her most recent epic adventure has been going from hope to healing and healing herself of cancer. So with that, Donna, do you want to go ahead and jump in with a little bit of your backstory on your healing and where it started with your diagnosis?
I would, Lindley. That's definitely where I want to start. But I want to say something first, that I am healed of cancer, but I get very excited about it. And, I want everybody to know that I'm not trying to tell you what to do, because I realize it's your life. You can do your life. But I want to share with you the things that I've learned. And the other thing I'd like to say up front is that also I have great respect for whatever you believe in. And if I say God, that includes whatever or whomever you believe in. So just know that for everybody out there.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. And I think that what our guests around the world are going to see is that you are coming from a very heart-centered and loving place, but you also have an epic story to tell. So let's jump in and talk about your diagnosis. Can you take us back to the start?
Yes. I probably had cancer long before I was diagnosed, but that's probably the case with everybody. Actually, I decided to have a second back surgery. And so one evening, the doctor called me and he had gotten the MRI back. This is the bone surgeon and the back surgeon. And he was a wreck. And he was very upset because what he saw on the MRI was what he thought was cancer, because he saw lymph nodes that were swollen and tentacles wrapped around the veins of my heart and everything. And so the mama in me kicked in and I had to comfort him. And so I told him, I said, listen to me. I said, God knows if I'm staying or leaving. And I said, if I leave, I've heard the other side better. And I said, if I stay, I'm going to give people what for. So there it is.
I love that.
And so, thanks to him, 6 weeks later, I had an oncologist. It was difficult to get in. And when my youngest daughter and I first arrived for the first appointment, where after some tests, the doctor gave us the diagnosis of squamous stage 4 cancer. And I had to inform my youngest daughter, who's not a quack like I am, that was the worst. Yeah. So, the doctor left us alone for a few minutes. He went outside and closed the door. And so we cried, little tears. And then I told her, I said, okay, fine, we can cry a little bit because we're human. But I said, we are not going down. And I really meant it. I really meant it. From the very, very beginning, I meant it. And so, um, you know, I knew from the beginning that God knew. And really, that was, I didn't need to be concerned about that. And so God told me, it was either that day or the next day, that this diagnosis and this, what I was going to go through, was a lesson. And of course, I just hopped on that, like fleas on a dog, because I love to learn. And so I was fine with that. So then I started ordering books and reading books on healing. And really, that was how it all started. So I never took it back. I have a really good friend that I really look up to. And about 2 or 3 months into it, she said to me, "You mean to tell me you have not taken this back from God?" And I said, "Why should I? I don't know the future. Why?" And, the real question is, a lot of people go around saying, "Why me?" Well, I think the better question is, why not me? You
Yeah.
know? So anyway, I
Right.
just busied myself and let God be God. So there you go. So, I was reminded of my childhood religion, because when something like this comes up, your whole life comes up. And so when I was a child, we believed in healing. And so for me, it was like eating breakfast. In other words, it wasn't anything unusual. It wasn't anything, I don't know. We just thought that was normal. And so I was really a little bit ahead, having that background. And then also too, my father was such an optimist, and he always said, if he said it once a day, he said it 12 times a day. There are no problems, only opportunities.
I
And so, I believe that.
You
So,
you really released and gave it over, and you detached yourself from the outcome. And I think one of the things you had told me, which I thought was so inspiring, is you dove into reading and studying, and you mentioned that you had to go on this almost journey of forgiveness. Can you talk a little bit about how you got there and what that looked and felt like?
yes, I can. And I want to give Louise Hay
Oh,
uh, much, much credit.
yes.
She has gone from this earth now, but her books are still available, and
Yes.
there's Hay House, which is a publishing company. But these were two of the books that I read of hers, um, and this one is You Can Heal Your Life, and then this one is The Power Within You. And the thing that I did is I went to the back of the book where she has definitions, and this is what she said: you can heal your life. Cancer is a disease, and she puts the hyphen in there. It's a dis-ease. Oh, I agree with that. Caused by deep resentment, held a long time, until it literally eats away at the body. Something happens in childhood that destroys the sense of trust. People with cancer are also very self critical. So, learning to love and accept the self is the key to healing cancers. So, now this is a very, very important definition, because she'd been reading my mail. So, so yes, I saw right away that my first job on my part to heal was to begin in the very beginning of my life. And my first memory was of me, but nobody around, not my mom, not my dad or anybody. So I must have been very, very young. I don't know I don't know where I was. But anyway, the thing is that I had to begin in the very beginning with forgiveness. And I had to bring it all the way up to the present. And I remember in our last discussion, I told you it took me months and months and months. And you said, well, goodness, a lot of people don't even do it. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you do not forgive, there will be no chance of healing. And thanks to Louise Hay and her books, that was where I started. And then I went on. I just I I quickly discovered, that I have not been a fearful person. Now, if you had asked me that before cancer, I would have thought about it. But now I'm very for sure that I have never been fearful. I mean, I've jumped out of airplanes. I've studied to be a bullfighter. I've done all kinds of things. I've traveled all over the world. I've done all kinds of things. So the thing is that I've never really been afraid. So that helps a lot. But for people that have fear, that also has to be what I call, I have a little, this is old school, and I know it.
I
It's a
love
little
it.
visual,
I love your
but
visual.
yes, but it has to be fear. You have to take that off your plate. And by your plate, that means your body, your mind, your soul. It has to be taken out and for you to heal. And you begin, with unforgiveness. And that's what Louise Hay set me up for with her definition of cancer. And then for me, fear, it has to go. And another thing too, Lindsay, you touched on it, but the one of the things is we have to face our mortality.
Yeah.
And like I said in the beginning, I did, but it was in my own way. Like I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care if I stayed or if I left. So I faced my own mortality. And for other people, it can be a longer journey. It can
Yeah.
take longer, but that's fine. I mean, whatever you do, however long it takes, it's fine. And so, another thing too is we have to take off of our plate the future, because I have to ask you, who knows the future? Of course, I realize that my daughter, my oldest daughter, Anna, who you're familiar with, says she does, but she has guides that talk to her that she
Yeah.
hears. And I think we all have guides, but some of us don't hear them. So anyway, the future, most of us don't know what it is. So that has to go.
And I
And
think even to clarify that, Donna,
yes,
in the metaphysical world, there are reasons that we might want to peer into the future, but then we have to remove our obsession or our desire to try to understand what's happening and to try to control it. And that's something a lot of our audience members may even try to do. I know I've tried to do that at times, right? So you're really saying just trust, because the future isn't in your control. You're not going to be peering into it.
well,
Does that
I'm here
sound-
to tell you, darling, that I used to think, old thinking, that I was in control. Well, now I know better. I am not in control of anything except waking up and getting dressed, and the day is up for the grabs. I mean,
Uh,
really, I have no control. And of course, my big thing was always wanting to control other people. Well, that is just pie in the sky. We can't do that. I mean, we are not in control of much of ourselves, and furthermore, not other people. They
yeah.
have their own path to walk, and we may think we know better, but no, we don't. And so the thing is, I'm glad that God let me know that He didn't die and make me God of the universe. So I'm really glad to know that.
I I love going back to your visual because it ties in, right? The unfearlessness and then the future. Those all tie into
Yeah.
really what you had to face in order to create this healing. So, can we keep going on? I love your visual. Can we keep talking
Yes.
about some of the other things that you really had to remove from your plate?
The
Stress.
next one is stress. Now, you'll notice that people around you uh, love to talk about how stressed they are. Well, what they do not realize is that's a luxury.
Mm,
It is not good for you. It will kill you, it will lead you to cancer.
mhm.
And so, this is something that people have to realize, and whatever it takes, whether it's meditation, running, walking, nature, whatever it is, whatever it takes, you have to get out of stress. And I don't know what it is for you or for anyone, but you have to do it.
And I think that, just when you're looking at the medical studies, this has been proven when you're looking at heart disease and cancer, the stress is a leading factor to that. And so I think a lot of our audience wants to know, what are the tools? What can help them pivot away from that? Because it really is an epidemic and it's leading to diagnosis similar to yours. So, what are some of your tips on how to move away from that so that they can have a journey to healing similar to yours?
Well, just for myself, nature is huge to me because I can breathe, and that's hugely important. A lot of people, when they're stressed, they just stop breathing. I mean, it's very shallow. And so, for me, when I'm around nature, I can relax and see beauty and other things that don't have anything to do with things of the world,
Ah,
because things of the world will definitely get us down. And
yeah.
when you're trying to heal, you can't be down. Now, I realize since I've been there, as I've been to the bottom,
Mhm.
and um, it's hard. I lost my appetite. I lost, between 50 and 100 pounds. I've been to the bottom, and even all of the treatment was helpful, but it was not good for me. I mean, as far as the stress and the trauma and the this and the that.
Mhm.
So we have to have a way, to escape. And not that it's not real, it is. Things of the world are real, but we have to have an outlet. And for me, it's nature.
Okay. I love that. I love that. How you obviously were putting a lot of energy and time into this and you were reading and educating yourself. When along this path did you know this is working? I'm healing myself. What were some of those moments?
Well, Dawn, it was a lot of things. My oldest daughter Anna and her husband Steve, they brought me a Beamer mat, Bemer, and I haven't been able to sleep well when I had cancer, and now even after the cancer, I still can't sleep well. So pretty much day and night, I was using the Beamer, and that was wonderful. And also too, Anna helped me balance my chakras. That was
Yeah.
so healing to me. And she couldn't have do it all the time because
Yeah.
she's busy, but it was very helpful to me. And one of the books that I have here that Anna suggested for me was Wheels of Light, and
Yeah.
this is about chakras, auras, and the healing energy of the body. And so, and it's a pretty deep book, but it really helped me. And
And I just want to pause for our audience because I think this is really important. Um, Light Language University offers resources and tools and to teach you how to balance your energy, see your energy. And I just want to say that while Anna may have helped Donna, Anna is the first to say Donna taught herself tools to heal herself. And that's a very, very big deal. Is you were not going out to providers. Obviously, Anna's incredibly talented, but you learned how to self-heal, right?
I
So
was, but I really refuse to take real credit for that, because there were so many other people that were involved, and that was, the people that treated me, and then also to, the people who wrote these books, and also a family and friends. And this is another thing that we have to take this off of our plate, is hesitation and asking for help.
mm,
People like myself who are very self-reliant, we need to get over that.
yeah.
And being in the very bottom of my health, I had to ask for help, and I'm still asking for help, even though I'm well and coming back. But I was so far down; it's taking me a while to come back. But I'm well now. But the thing is I don't really hesitate anymore to ask for help. And I think that's huge, because I think a lot of times people think, well, people are too busy, I don't want to bother them, or this or that. Well, that's not true. They would love to do and help. They would love to do that.
I love that. What else did you remove from your plate?
Well, this is a hard one for me, because I'm a caregiver,
Mhm.
and I'm a mom by nature. And now I've worked all my life. And actually, now that I'm almost 80 and don't work, I miss work. I love people. But this one was hard for me. You know, taking this off my plate, putting others first, because probably for the first time in my life, I really, really needed to put myself first. And this is really hard for me. This is hard for me. And so, but I had to get over it. I had to get over it. So it has to be taken off your plate, putting others first.
I love that.
And then also another thing too is to free yourself of undue financial stress. Now, obviously, we all have rent, or we all have a mortgage, or this or that. We have other things, but anything that is undue that you really can get rid of, get rid of it. Sell it, give it away, whatever. Just get rid of undue financial stress. And there are lots of ways, to do that. And Dave Ramsey's a great guy to go to for that. Not me, not me, but Dave Ramsey.
But figuring that piece out. I
What,
think,
Dawn?
but figuring that piece out, right? Because that's part of the stress that we're talking
It's
about.
it is it is, honey. And so many people have overburdened themselves
Mhm.
with financial stress, and it's a real part of healing, because there has to be some peace of mind
Yeah.
in the middle of all of this,
Yes.
because it is a very busy thing. You have to have treatments every 2 to 3 weeks, and this is just ongoing. You have to have all the scans, and that's just ongoing, and then you have to have all the blood tests and all of that. But so you've got to start eliminating what stress you can get rid of. And
Understood.
really, if a person is really gets down to it, there are a lot of things they can get rid of.
Okay. Understood. And
And
what is left on the plate that we need to toss?
unhealthy relationships.
Oh,
I mean, all of us have them, and we've put up with them for maybe too long. And it's it's really true, though.
yeah.
And I'm not just saying if it's not benefiting you, but if you are putting up with behavior that does hurt you, then you need to reconsider that relationship. And then also to eliminate negative words.
let's talk about this because this was in a lot of your reading and books. Can you dive into that a little bit more?
Yes, I can. Most of the books that I read, and it wasn't, I didn't set out to do this, but most of them are MDs, and so they relied on a lot of research. And in it, there were the positive things that can be done, to heal.
Mhm.
And so there wasn't a lot of negativity. Now, some people consider, the truth negative, but really, in reality, to know the truth gives you more power, because then you go, oh, okay, well, I have cancer, so what have other people done to heal it? It's like, okay, I mean, just wrap your mind around it and get busy and do what you need to do, and don't. This is one of the things that I learned, and from all of these books, is you have to be an outlier. Outlier. Now, what that means is an obstinate patient. And I'm sure that every doctor in the world and every nurse in the world has other names for us that I won't say. So when the doctor, came in that first meeting that we had, he said, "Okay, well, you're in a lot of pain. I'm going to give you some pain meds for that." And I said, "No, you're not." I said, "I'm not going to take them because I'm recovering everything. And that is more important to me and more dear to me than being out of pain." So the whole time I had cancer, I was in excruciating pain, but I was clean and I was sober. So that was more important to me. And then he says, "Okay, well, you're going to have chemo or radiation." And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm not taking chemo or radiation." And I didn't even know if there was anything else. But that was me being the obstinate patient. And it wasn't that I purposed to do that. It's just who I am. But if you're not that way, that you need to get a little bit more like that to stand up for yourself. You need to have a voice, and you need to use it, and you need to speak it. And it has to be from your heart and your truth and how you really feel. And so then he looked at me and he said, "Well, there is immunotherapy." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, it wakes up your immune system to realize that the cancer is not friendly or good in the body, because the cancer is deceptive, and it also hides too behind other organs and things. And so it wakes up your immune system to find the cancer and to kill it." And so I said, "Okay." And it's only been around 10 years. So later, about a week or two later, I thought, "Oh gosh, I'm so grateful I wasn't diagnosed 11 years ago."
So you had immunotherapy treatment in addition to really unpacking um, and going on this forgiveness journey through education. I don't know if we're there yet, but can you also talk about a lot of the common things that you were seeing, tools, because you read
Yeah.
so much and were educated so much. I think people want to know, what were the common threads?
Well, I was fascinated in all of these books. They didn't just list them, and they didn't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, no, they were just talking about them all through the book, and different books, people. So there are 6 to 9 things that people have in common all over the world that they do to heal. And we don't even know them. We speak different languages. We'll never meet them. But and this is for different illnesses too. It's not just cancer, but these other people too have cancer that they heal from. And um and it let me see if I have that uh yes, here it is. Okay. The first well, these are not in order. They're
Yeah.
just, I'm just going to say the first, but they're
Yeah.
not in order. The first thing is that people have a faith in something. Now, it can be, uh, uh, a shaman. It can be anything. It can be Buddha. It can be Mohammed. It can be anything. For me, it's God, but it can be anything. But we have faith, and so that's one of the things. And then, of course, food. Food. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, did I take off sugar? Well, food can heal or harm, and it's hugely, hugely important, and especially for cancer, because we do lose our appetite, or some of us do, and so Anna was really good to bring me powders that had minerals and vitamins and things like that that I could drink. And yes, I could if I felt like it. And a lot of times I just couldn't move. I was so ill. But the important thing is food. You have to choose healing foods, and you have to do away totally with until you're well, and then you can bring them back in a little bit at a time. But you have to get rid of totally all the things that are harmful to your body as in the form of food. And then another thing these people did is they enjoyed living. They enjoyed
Yes.
their family, their friends, and they had fun.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I have been able to laugh throughout this whole thing, and it's really been good. It's been good. Now, their thoughts, they had a desire to be alive.
Yeah.
Now, in some of these books, they stated that a lot of times people get a diagnosis of cancer and they see it as an out.
Yeah.
So you have to make that decision yourself. Do I want to be here, or do I want to leave? And so those are your thoughts. And then also to, you know, um, it's mind over matter. Like, yes, I had cancer, but I did not identify that. In other words, I did not identify with it. Yes, it was something going on in my body, but it was going to have to leave. It didn't belong there. And so, the other things is the resolve to do what is necessary, and whatever it is, do it. And then you have to have peace of mind and hope, and you just have to have that, because like we did, we took off this board the things that have to be taken off your plate. And so then there are things that you want to have. And so these 6 to 9 things that people all over the world do and have is on purpose. They
Yeah.
do them on purpose.
Yeah. I think it's very powerful, your steadfastness and dedication to the self-healing. Can you talk a little bit about when you found out you were healed, and maybe others' reactions, or even your doctor's reactions to what that was?
Well, I, you know, I, I can tell you that it was 6 months. I had a death sentence. He showed me a piece of paper, which I thought was kind of rude, that said that in 5 years, only 5% of the people with my diagnosis would be alive. I thought that was very rude of him. But of course, he said that he was trained to do that. But anyway, uh, the thing is that, of course, I had time, because I didn't have the energy to do what I had done before I got cancer. So I had the time to read these books and to really study them and to really understand them. And I also want to make sure that I I this is the only book that I have ever hugged in my life. I've never hugged a book, okay? This is by Dr. Bernie Siegel, and it's called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And I'm telling you, it's right on up there with Louise Hay. I mean, it is amazing. And I'm rereading it. I'm rereading it because it's such a great book. And then another great book was Lisa Rankin's book. She is an MD, and she had left the medical world over some discouragement or something. I'm not for sure, but she went off and then started learning about alternative healing, and so she wrote Mind Over Medicine,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's a great book. And she says there's scientific proof that you can heal yourself. Okay, great. That's great because I did prove that. And it's not like I did it. I don't want to take any credit. It's just that I did what I had time to do, which was to study and to learn and apply it to getting well. And so,
That's what we say. You did the work.
well,
You
yes.
you you
And
did the
and
work.
I want to say this, that word spontaneous remission is thrown around, spontaneous remission. Well, I got news for you. There was nothing spontaneous about it. It was just grinding through every day and every night in the pain and the agony of the illness and working to get out of it. And so, no, I didn't have spontaneous remission. No, I had working remission.
Well, I love that. So you went from your diagnosis to healing within 6 months.
Well,
And we have
yes, and of course, um, we're still a little bit in all of that because, I mean, the fact is, I mean, that's probably a little bit out of the ordinary, just a little bit. But I wanted to show you another book here. This is the last book that I'm reading, and it's called Cured by Dr. Jeffrey Rediger, Rediger, Cured. And it
uh-huh.
also has been very, very helpful to me. Now, there are a couple of other books here, and then I'm done with the books. Um, Kelly Turner wrote Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds. Well, that's very
Yes.
encouraging, isn't it? And then
Yes. And I think that
Anita
one's a Netflix
Morjani.
documentary as well.
Yeah. Anita Morjani wrote Dying to Be Me, My Journey from Cancer to Near Death to True Healing.
That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites. And I think we should remind our audience, this book specifically, this is about self-healing. You don't have to have a critical diagnosis to apply these teachings and methods. This is things that can help us evolve, whether we're under emotional stress or other types of disease. But that book, The Dying to Be Me, to me, when I read that, that was more about living and shedding fear and a lot of the things you talked about. But this is something that we can all apply. You don't have to get to the point where you have a terminal diagnosis in order to do that,
I
right?
agree. I agree. And I have to say, pretty much in closing, and of course, the Bible, I have to say in closing that really I wouldn't take for this experience. And the reason I say that is because I'm different. I'm different now. I think I'm better. I really do. And I just, and I don't, and I mean that on a lot of different levels because I purpose every day of my life. This is just one thing, to touch every person I come in contact with, to lift them up. And it doesn't matter who they are, and it doesn't matter where I am. And so it's not like I wasn't doing that before, but now I'm very intent on it. I'm very intent on it. It's my mission for the day. And so, I just wouldn't take for this experience because I've learned so much, and I'm humbly grateful. I don't want to leave out gratitude. I mean, I'm humbly grateful.
Donna, your story is incredible to say the least. It's inspiring. I know I've been a fangirl of yours for a while. As we wrap this up, do you have any final words for our viewers and our guests as they're getting through this thing we call life and just trying a little something new and better every day? What are the last words you'd like to leave them with?
Well, I don't want to leave out hope because actually it was you, Elizabeth, that brought that up the last time we talked. And you know, I've come to the conclusion that hope is not just what I want, but hope is just a more of a spiritual experience, a spiritual journey, and it's not a one time thing, and it's something that all people all over the world share, and it's hope, and we all know how important it is. Because without it, I really don't know what else is really almost. I mean, besides God or believing in a higher being, and besides love, I just really don't know what else is more important than hope.
With that, thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your incredible story from hope to healing. I know I've been inspired, and I hope our other viewers are as well. And I just want to note that we have many resources on Light Language University. We're going to share all of the resources that Donna has spoken about today. And just know that we are here to help you in your journey to healing.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you and have a
You're
great day.
welcome.